The early morning sun crawled over the skyline of Lagos, painting the city in gold and shadows as cars honked impatiently, traders shouted prices, and life exploded onto the busy streets. On one corner, near a row of abandoned warehouses, a young black African boy named Tobi sat on a broken wooden crate, hugging his faded backpack. Tobi was no more than 12, but his eyes held the depth of someone who had seen too much too early. He had been living on the streets for 2 years, ever since he lost his grandmother, the only person who had ever cared for him. The city was harsh, but Tobi had learned to survive with quick thinking, courage, and a heart stubbornly full of kindness. Across the city, in a luxurious mansion surrounded by high walls and palm trees, lived Chief Adewale, one of the wealthiest businessmen in the country. He had everything: power, influence, a fleet of cars, except time for the people who mattered most. His young son, Damilare, a bright black African boy of 8, often spent afternoons alone despite having every toy imaginable. A quiet sadness lived in him, unseen by most. Their worlds should never have crossed. But fate has a way of rewriting destinies. That day, as Tobi sat on his crate watching the traffic flow like a river, he noticed a sleek black SUV rolling slowly down the street. Something felt off. The SUV windows were tinted, the engine too quiet, and the men inside stared too hard at the child walking near the curb, a small boy holding a school bag too big for him. Tobi's heart tightened. That boy doesn't belong here. The boy paused to retie his shoelace, and the SUV stopped beside him. The back door snapped open. Hand reached out. The boy screamed. Tobi didn't think. He ran. His legs flew like lightning, cutting across the road as he yelled, "Hey! Leave him!" The kidnappers froze, shocked that a street boy would dare intervene, and that moment of hesitation was all Tobi needed. He grabbed the younger boy's arm and pulled him free. "Run!" Tobi shouted. The kidnappers cursed and lunged, but Tobi darted away, dragging the terrified boy through narrow alleys they couldn't follow. They didn't stop until they were far from danger, both panting hard, hearts hammering. You saved me," the young boy gasped. "What's your name?" "Tobi," he replied. "And you?" "Damilare." Tobi froze. He knew that name. Everyone in Lagos did. He had just rescued the son of Chief Adewale, the richest man in the state. Destiny had just opened its first door. Damilare's security team found the boys within minutes. The entire city seemed to shake as news spread of the attempted kidnapping. Tobi expected to be scolded or chased away. After all, street children were often treated with suspicion. But instead, the guards lifted him gently, praising him. "You saved the chief's son," one whispered. "You don't know what you have done." They took him to the mansion. Tobi's breath caught as they entered. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, a fountain taller than 3 men. He had never imagined such wealth existed outside movies. Then Chief Adewale entered, tall, powerful, dressed in immaculate white. His eyes swept the room before landing on Tobi. "You," he said slowly. "Come." Tobi stepped forward nervously. Chief Adewale knelt. "Thank you for saving my son." The room gasped. The billionaire didn't kneel for anyone. He placed a hand on Tobi's shoulder. "From today, you are family. Anything you need, anything you want, it is yours." Damilare beamed and hugged Tobi tightly. But not everyone was happy. At the top of the stairs stood Madame Ronk, Chief Adewale's sister, elegant, sharp-eyed, and influential. She whispered, "A street boy in this house. Brother, you don't know what trouble you invite." Chief Adewale ignored her. Tobi was given a warm bath, clean clothes, food that made him cry from joy, and a soft bed that felt like sleeping on clouds. For the first time in years, he felt safe. Yet deep inside an old fear stirred. Why did the kidnappers target Damilare? And why did Chief Adewale seem uneasy when he looked at Tobi's face? Weeks passed. Tobi settled into the household like he had always belonged. Damilare adored him. The staff loved him. Even the cold, marble-faced mansion felt warmer with him inside. He learned quickly, spoke politely, worked hard. Everyone admired him, except Madame Ronk. She watched him with narrow eyes, tapping her long nails against her arm. One evening she approached Chief Adewale. "Brother, the boy resembles someone." Chief Adewale stiffened. "Who?" "Someone from your past." A shadow passed through his eyes. "Let it go, Ronk." "I cannot." She leaned closer. "You abandoned a woman years ago. A woman and a baby." Chief Adewale's jaw tightened. "She's dead," he whispered. "I heard she died." "But the child?" Ronk asked. Silence. "There is no proof," the chief snapped. Ronk smiled thinly. "There is. And he is sleeping under your roof." Chief Adewale's breaths grew uneven. He remembered the woman from his youth. Gentle, poor, and erased by his ambition when he abandoned her to chase wealth. He had prayed that chapter of his life would never return. But Tobi's face, his eyes, his voice, they were too familiar. He was afraid to believe it, afraid to face the truth. Meanwhile, Tobi began noticing whispers around the house, strange glances, murmurs that stopped when he entered. One night, he overheard staff talking. "They say the chief once had another child, years before Damilare was born. Some claim the child didn't die like people thought. Some claim he grew up on the streets." Tobi's heart pounded. Could it be me? But he forced the thought away. Impossible. Nothing about his life suggested such destiny. Yet the shadows of truth were gathering, and they would soon explode. The truth struck unexpectedly. It was night, the house quiet. Tobi was heading to the kitchen when he noticed Chief Adewale in his study, staring at a photograph with trembling hands. Tobi stepped closer. The chief looked up, startled, and dropped the photo. It skidded across the floor and landed at Tobi's feet. He bent to pick it up. His breath froze. The photograph showed a younger Chief Adewale, smiling beside a black African woman with gentle eyes, and in her arms, baby boy. The baby had Tobi's face. Tobi looked up slowly. Chief Adewale's eyes filled with tears. "My son," he whispered. Tobi staggered backward. No, that's not possible. My grandmother told me nothing of this." The chief covered his face. "She tried to reach me. I was too proud, too selfish, too drunk on wealth to listen. When she died, you disappeared. I searched for you later. But the city is large. I failed you, Tobi." The world swayed around Tobi. "So, all this time, I was living outside hungry, alone, and you were here." His voice broke. Chief Adewale knelt again and clasped the boy's trembling hands. "I did not know. I swear it. But now that I do, I will never lose you again." Tobi turned away, tears spilling. Anger, pain, relief, confusion, all twisted inside him like a storm. Then suddenly, scream. Damilare's scream. Tobi ran first. Before guards, before staff, before anyone. In the courtyard, the same kidnappers from weeks ago were trying to grab Damilare again. Tobi didn't hesitate. He lunged. A struggle erupted. Shouts, running footsteps, chaos. But Tobi fought like someone who had survived the streets, someone who had lost too much to lose anyone else. Guards stormed in. The kidnappers fled. Tobi collapsed to the ground, chest heaving. Chief Adewale rushed to him and held him tightly. "My son," he whispered fiercely. "You saved my family twice. Your courage puts kings to shame." Tobi closed his eyes, overwhelmed. Family. Name. A place where he belonged. And yet, the house was not done with its storms. Dawn broke gently over the Adewale mansion, as if the universe itself wanted to approach the new day slowly, respectfully, aware of the storm that had shaken the household the night before. The sky glowed a pale orange, stretching light across the compound like a soft embrace. Tobi sat at the balcony outside his room, his legs dangling freely as he watched birds glide across the awakening sky. The events of the previous night replayed in his mind. The second kidnapping attempt, his confrontation with danger, the revelation of his true identity, and the overwhelming weight of belonging to a family he never imagined he had. His heart felt heavy and light at the same time, as if two truths battled inside him. He finally had a family. He was still afraid he did not deserve it. A gentle knock on the door pulled him from his thoughts. "Tobi, may I come in?" It was Chief Adewale. "Yes, sir," Tobi replied softly. The chief stepped onto the balcony. He looked different this morning, tired, humbled, yet strangely peaceful. He sat beside Tobi and remained silent for a long moment. Only the rustling leaves and distant city noises filled the air. "You look like your mother when you're quiet," Chief Adewale finally said. Tobi's throat tightened. "You knew her well?" he asked. The chief inhaled deeply. "I knew her, and I failed her. I was younger, proud, blind to the things that truly matter. Wealth became my language, and I abandoned the most precious gifts life offered me." He turned to Tobi. "I abandoned you." Tobi lowered his gaze. Every part of him wanted to say he wasn't angry, but he was. Part of him wanted to forgive instantly, but he couldn't. Not yet. Not fully. "I survived on the streets," Tobi whispered. "I slept in rain. I ate what people threw away. I thought the world had forgotten me." The chief swallowed hard, emotions shaking his voice. "And I was living in comfort, unaware that my own blood was suffering." He reached out slowly, as if unsure if he had the right. "Tobi, I cannot change the past, but I can spend the rest of my life honoring you, protecting you, and making sure you never feel alone again." Tobi's eyes stung with tears, but he held himself together. "Why did the kidnappers come again?" he asked. Chief Adewale sighed. "They were not ordinary criminals. They were hired by rivals, people threatened by me. I thought protecting my son meant giving him guards and walls. But Tobi, you taught me that courage can come from the most unexpected places." He smiled gently. "You saved Damilare twice. No amount of wealth could buy what you gave us." For the first time, Tobi saw softness in the chief's eyes. Not authority, not power, but genuine fatherly affection. A warmth spread through his chest. But the peace did not last long. A voice interrupted them. "Brother, may we talk?" Madame Ronk stood at the doorway, her expression unreadable. Tobi stiffened. The chief nodded. "Come." Ronk approached them, her footsteps light yet firm, like someone carrying heavy thoughts. To face Tobi. "For years, I resented the idea that someone could enter this family without status or lineage," she said. "But last night, when you threw yourself in front of danger for Damilare, I saw something I've never seen in this house before." Tobi blinked in confusion. "What did you see?" Ronk's eyes softened. "Pure love. The kind that is not earned by money, but by character." She looked at the chief. "I fought against this boy staying here. I doubted him. But I was wrong." Her voice trembled slightly, a rare thing for a woman of her stature. She bowed her head to Tobi. "You have your mother's strength, and you have earned my respect." Tobi's breath caught. He had expected resistance, maybe even rejection, but not this. Chief Adewale smiled with relief. "Thank you, Ronk." "But," Ronk added quickly, "the family must be officially informed. There must be a declaration. A proper one." The chief nodded. "I intend to make it today." The gathering. By afternoon, the mansion buzzed with movement. Family elders, cousins, uncles, and close friends arrived, all summoned urgently by the chief. Tobi felt overwhelmed. He had never seen so many elegantly dressed people in one place. Their conversations filled the living room like a swarm of bees. Some looked at him with curiosity, some with suspicion, some with warm smiles. Damilare stayed by his side the entire time, gripping his hand. "You're my big brother now," Damilare whispered proudly. "Nobody can bully you." Tobi chuckled. "I thought I was supposed to protect you." "You do. I just talk," the younger boy replied with a grin. The chief finally entered the hall. Silence spread instantly. He stood tall, voice firm. Thank you all for coming on such short notice. What I share today will change our family forever. Eyes widened. Murmurs rose. Even the journalists waiting outside sensed something historic was about to happen. Chief Adewale gestured toward Tobi. This boy, this brave, selfless young man, is my first son. Gasps filled the room, some sharp, some soft, some emotional. Tobi felt his knees weaken. The chief continued. Years ago, I made mistakes that cost me the chance to raise him. Fate separated us. But fate has now brought us back. He placed a hand on Tobi's shoulder. Tobi Adewale is my child, my blood, and he will be treated with the same honor and respect given to every member of this family. He turned to the elders. I ask for your blessings, not because he deserves pity, but because he has demonstrated courage greater than any I have ever seen. One by one, elders stepped forward. The oldest among them, a calm, gentle-faced grandmother, took Tobi's hands. My child, she said softly, welcome home. The hall erupted into applause. Tobi burst into tears, not quiet ones but deep, cleansing sobs he had held in for years. Chief Adewale pulled him into a tight embrace, and this time Tobi did not hold back. For the first time in his life, he allowed himself to feel wanted. A new beginning. As evening fell, the family gathered around a large dining table. It was full of laughter, stories, warm food, and genuine joy. Tobi sat between Damilare and Chief Adewale, feeling the strange, wonderful fullness of belonging. Halfway through the meal, the chief raised a glass. To Tobi, he said, the boy who saved my son, and saved me from my own blindness. The family repeated warmly. To Tobi. Tobi raised his glass shyly. To all of you, he said. Thank you, for giving me a place to stand. The moment that sealed everything. After dinner, as the moon rose high above the mansion, Chief Adewale brought Tobi to his late mother's portrait, one he had kept hidden for years. She always said you would be extraordinary, the chief whispered. She knew your destiny long before I did. Tobi touched the frame, tears gathering. I hope I make her proud. You already have, the chief replied. And you have made me proud too. He placed a small velvet box in Tobi's hand. Tobi opened it. A simple gold necklace with a tiny letter A. It belonged to your mother, the chief said. She wanted you to have it when you grew old enough. Tobi clutched the necklace to his chest. And in that moment, the orphan became a son. The street boy became a prince in his own right. The forgotten child became the family's greatest blessing.